Welcome to the Voices of Otolaryngology podcast series, where we spotlight diverse perspectives and insights within the field of otolaryngology. I'm your host, Rahul Shah. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Voices of Otolaryngology. I'm broadcasting here Monday from our annual meeting from the exhibit floor in Indianapolis. I've got a lot of funny sayings, and one of them is sometimes you just get lucky. And I've got the Setzen brothers here. I am so excited to have you both.
Thank you, Dr. Shah. Great pleasure to be here and looking very forward to our chat.
Please introduce yourself.
I'm Michael Setzen. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm Gavin's older brother. This is a celebration of things that have happened for both of us. So happy to be here at the annual meeting in Indianapolis.
Yeah, we had the footage rolling for the prior 15 minutes, and it was fun to see. You definitely are the older brother. What is the age difference?
Almost 13 years.
13 years. And there are other Setzens as well.
There's another brother in South Africa. He's a OBGYN and a GYN and oncologist. He's 3 years younger than Michael.
So there are three boys. That's it.
Correct.
Three of us.
And he's the middle brother.
Me.
You're the middle.
No.
He's the younger brother. I'm the older brother. We got a middle brother back home in South Africa still.
Yeah, fascinating, isn't it? Isn't it? They say when you have three of the same gender, the oldest and the youngest are very similar. Did you know that?
I think that's true.
I think so too. I think so.
So, very much so.
That's my brother and myself as well. All right, so take me through the journey. Where did you train, Michael?
So I grew up in South Africa. I became a physician at the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg. And I had always wanted to do surgery and felt that if I am going to do it, I'm going to train in America. So we emigrated to America. Started off at the Cleveland Clinic, did 1 year of general surgery there, and wasn't sure what I was actually going to do. And in my third month into the rotation, I started on ENT, and I said, ENT is where I want to go. I then got into WashU with Joe Ogura. I was one of his final residents,
Wow.
and I trained there and finished with Joe Ogura.
And then quickly take me to then. Then you did after that.
So then I felt, coming from South Africa, I'd always wanted to be on one of the two coasts, either the West Coast or the East Coast. Looked at New York, something happened on Long Island, liked the opportunity there, and I settled in Long Island, and I've been there now for 42 years practicing as an otolaryngologist.
And describe your practice setup.
So my practice initially, obviously rhinology wasn't a big deal, but 25 years ago when endoscopic sinus surgery became something, I gravitated towards rhinology. So I'm primarily a rhinologist, but I do other things over and above rhinology. But for me, it's, doing septums, endoscopic sinus surgery, love rhinoplasty. My best case is if a patient comes in and says, Doc, not only do I have nasal congestion and sinus problems, but this little bump on the nose, can you take it down? That is my best patient.
So I might be your best patient. Look, I have a polybeak. I've got all the deformities. I'm a textbook. I'll be perfect for you. And so Gavin, 13-year difference, correct?
Yes.
Your brother's here. He was where when you decided you wanted to be an otolaryngologist? He was in med school. He was with Dr. Ogura. Where was he?
So he was already with Dr. Ogura. So a 9 and 13-year age difference. I always grew up in this medical home watching my brothers on their medical journey.
Yeah.
Had an early interest in medicine. Visited Michael for the first time in 1979. He was at WashU at that point. Fascinated by everything ENT.
How old were you then? You were 7 years old, 5 years old?
8.
Your peers. And the sad thing is, it's probably true. They threw you on a plane to go see your brother.
That's it.
Or were you really 8?
No. So I was born in 63. I was 16.
Yeah, but still. So you're a 16-year-old seeing American medicine when there were no duty hours. It's pretty scary.
No, absolutely. It was just so fascinating. So, training at the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg, incredible experience. I spent almost 2 years at Baragwanath Hospital, a 4,000-bed hospital, training there. But always knew that the allure of American residency and training was just so captivating. I knew that this is where I was heading. Mike had set such an incredible precedent. For all the good reasons we all go into otolaryngology, that was driving me. I'll never forget, as a medical student in South Africa, we read The House of God. That was required.
Of course, Samuel Shem.
That sealed the deal. But my route was...
You go two ways with that book.
Good.
You either read it and it seals the deal and you're a doctor, or you're horrified and you're a writer.
That's it.
So then what's your path?
So, it was a little more difficult to path into the U.S. at that point. And, thank goodness I was able to get a green card.
Why? Is some immigration reform had happened?
This was in the late 80s. I came across in late 89. My green card was delayed. I spent 4 months in Moosomin, Saskatchewan, 60 miles north of North Dakota in a family practice role. And then did half of a general surgery residency at New York Hospital in North Shore.
Internship and residency.
Yes, and then transitioned to otolaryngology.
In the early 90s?
So my residency was 92 to 97 at Albany Med. And then just loved the opportunity, the area, the friends that we had made, stayed in Albany. So I was covering upstate, Mike had downstate covered. We had a great situation.
So I wonder if your immigration was delayed because of your brother. I mean, the Setzen name probably, they just said, stay away from this guy.
Actually, I had sponsored Gavin and was able to get him a residency position at my hospital in general surgery.
Oh, wow. But there was some...
So just the logistics of the green card immigration process,
difficult.
which was
Very difficult. So now you're both in New York. You're starting a practice, general otolaryngology with rhinology. You're coming out of Albany. I'm your uncle. I'm your nephews. Why not do it together?
So that was definitely
Who messed it up?
a consideration and
I'm just
hard
kidding, guys.
conversation at one point. But, for me, Mike had been well established for a long time, wanted to develop my own footprint and practice, loved the allergy, took over the practice from a former AAOA president.
And then you just get entrenched.
And grew it from there. Also, just the capital region, upstate area was very captivating. You had made so many lifelong friends at that point that it made it difficult to sort of...
It was his fault, Michael. And you said, come join me. And the parents said, come join me. And he's the youngest son. He said, I'm going to do it on my own. I'm the youngest too, Gavin.
It would have been great to be together, but I think working in different places has allowed us both to grow and develop. From my standpoint...
And establish your own credibility.
And establish your own credibility. And, it was difficult coming in as a foreigner from day one. There were a lot of the ups and downs. One of my favorite words is the vicissitudes of life. You come into America, it's difficult. Thank God I had my wife, who was my biggest supporter. Without her support, I would never have been able to do all that I've done. She has stood by me throughout my 42 years or more of marriage. So with that lifelong supporter, I've been able to do what I did. I came after the residency into New York. I knew nobody in New York.
Really?
And I had to go out there and say, you know what? I've always been someone with leadership capabilities. I said, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get involved. And the first thing I got involved with was the Board of Governors. I looked at the academy and I said, this was something I need to give back to the specialty. And the Board of Governors what propelled me all the way up to where I am currently today.
Let me back up. That was profound. So the Setzens actually knew nobody. You know everybody now.
Absolutely.
So what I'm profound by that is people always say, oh, I don't want to go to Oklahoma. I don't know anybody. I don't want to go. So in Long Island, you set up practice. You really didn't know anybody.
I knew nobody.
So how did you grow a world-renowned practice?
I knew nobody. And as I said, I felt it was important to get involved in the academy, rose through the ranks.
So that's where you started first in the academy?
I started in Great Neck, New York, on Long Island, locally. And over time, I realized, although I was in private practice, it was important to get involved, to publish, present, mentor.
Why did you figure that out?
Because I felt I had leadership capabilities and I felt I need to give this back to others. And that's why. There was no financial gain for me.
It's financial loss. It was an economic disincentive.
Giving up my time.
Right. That's profound, though. Very interesting.
And anybody that I've spoken to that has said, Doc, how can we get involved? I've said, get involved with the academy. The ARS was also big for me.
Yeah.
Once I'd finished my time with the academy, I got very involved with the ARS. once again realized.
But you
I'm a
started
rhinologist.
locally in Great Neck first, right?
Started locally.
So what did you do? You'd call on the doctors, you'd go to the local medical society. What did you do?
So what I did is I realized here I am, I'm 31 years old, know nobody, had a practice. I was in a group of about 4 others. I made myself available in the ERs, in the hospitals. Anybody that called
Wait a minute. Available, affable, and able?
able. Yeah.
Are you
In
the
my
one that
opinion-
came up with that term?
No, in
Just
my
kidding.
opinion, I think affable is probably the most significant part. We as South Africans have grown up with bedside manner being a very important part of what we do. And I think a lot of patients like that. My patients aren't there just for me to treat them. I like to befriend them, make them feel comfortable, talk about things. I love golf, tennis, pickleball.
So
Let's
you were
talk about-
always available. You were ready for them.
Yes, I was.
So then how did you build your practice? I didn't know. I thought you're born with the Setzen name. Everybody knew who you were. So you said, look, my brother did it in Great Neck. I'm going to go do it in Albany.
Right. And similarly, when I moved to Albany, when I emigrated, I certainly did not think I would be living in Albany. I was thinking, major metropolitan areas, New York City, Boston, LA, Chicago. But it's to Mike's point, and I think what's ingrained in a lot of us, it's about the people. I loved my time in New York City and Long Island, and it was fantastic. A transition to Albany where I really developed lifelong friendships and relationships, an incredible program for my wife, and raising kids was outstanding. So I developed relationships and, cultivated those over time as well. There's a definite immigrant work ethic, and for both of us coming from South Africa and others looking to build and grow.
So same thing. You would hustle in your area.
Absolutely. Just meeting people, developing relationships, volunteering. Mike had set a great example of, involvement in Academy and others. I got involved in Academy the first year of residency. I've been coming to the annual meeting since 1992. I've not missed one. Very involved in local legislative New York State Society activities, and then, Board of Governors.
But back then, you all didn't do it for economic enrichment.
Absolutely.
It was costing you money.
Exactly.
But you did it because it advanced medicine, you were grateful, it helped your practices.
And a sense of belonging in an incredible group of people with shared goals and aspirations as otolaryngologists, being able to give back on an educational basis, a volunteer basis, cultivating those relationships, mentoring, sponsoring, teaching, it enriches the part of practice that, brings that balance. And for me, and I know for Mike as well, it was just a very important part of the cohesive aspect to providing great healthcare and meaningful leadership.
And then I would say the economic benefits came much later. Once you had the brand, people refer to you, but it's phenomenal. Everybody has it backwards. Let me get economically stable and enriched first, then I'll give back. But y'all started it from the beginning.
Yeah, no, we did. I've been doing this for 42 years, and I'm not quitting. I love the ability to practice medicine. I love helping people in need. That makes me feel good. Develop great relationships with patients. I don't only do medicine. I think it's important for the longevity of your practice to be able to take some time off. I've actually never worked on a Friday. Friday's been
Hold on. Michael Setzen. I can't believe that. I'm in the wrong. Are you hiring?
Friday is a day for golf, tennis, pickleball, or academic work, lecture.
Are you absolutely serious?
I'm absolutely serious. I don't
say
work
that
on a
again.
Friday.
But then how do you make the ends meet?
I make the ends meet by being available, doing what I have to do, and with that in mind, I can make ends meet. I don't think you have to work 6-7 days a week. I think you need some time off. I'm fortunate enough to have grandkids. I want to spend time with my grandkids.
But you didn't have them 40 years ago.
I didn't have them 40 years ago, but now when I have this time off, I can spend time with them.
But you've been doing this your whole career.
I've been doing this my whole career, and I'm not done. So I love it so much.
Let's have a little brotherly fight. Are you a 24/7, 365 guy, or are you a Michael Setzen?
I'm transitioning to the Michael Setzen. I've always been a little, very sort of driven type A, which is not...
Which is he is
Yes,
too.
but balancing time and, family and other commitments is absolutely essential, wellness and the like. But similarly, the medicine is an incredible part of what drives me on a day-to-day basis. The organizational part of medicine and other opportunities, I think, is a very important counterbalance. And sometimes that does come at the expense of family time or leisure time, and certainly economically there is a sacrifice. But I think marrying the two, for me, has made it something sustainable and something that I want to continue doing for 5, 10, 15 years without consideration to stopping in you.
This is phenomenal. I don't prep for these. I want to be raw. And when what's phenomenal, you all were advocacy and engagement and wellness before it was cool. All right, you guys are the OG, okay? OGs, you're the originals, the old guys. So you were actually thinking about wellness 25, 30 years ago. And some of that wellness came from Great Neck, Otolaryngology Community, ARS, and the other societies. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
But I'm also, the reason one could be so involved with the academy, with the ARS, is because I did set aside time. If I was working 6, 7 days a week, I would not be able to have the time. When people would call me up and say, I'm having an issue with a reimbursement related or an advocacy related issue, I was available. I could say to them, look, on Friday, I have some time off, we can talk about it. So that's why I
Michael,
felt it was
I can't
important
believe
to
it,
have
because
time.
if you opened up half in the mornings, you would have made 20% more.
Right.
How's that not tempting?
It's not tempting because I have significant satisfaction with what I've been able to accomplish working the restrictions
During
that
the 4 days.
Absolutely.
I mean, same with you, Gavin.
Sure.
It's just so interesting, but you all were doing this 25, 30 years ago. You didn't wait until you were economically okay.
Right. And I think one thing that is unique to otolaryngology and this community, it's very embracing. We have phenomenal leadership role models, mentors who take you along the journey. And so it's something very compelling that you want to get involved and be a part of early on. And the more you do, the more satisfaction, the more people, the more connectivity, the more meaningful the relationships, and the opportunity to give back and the opportunity to secure the future of the field.
So I'll talk just quickly about mentorship. You both, know it or not, are mentors to my brother and I, right? Udi, Shah, and myself, and we're very grateful to you.
Thank you.
We've called upon you when we've needed help. Sometimes people think a mentor-mentee relationship is let's sit down once a quarter and go through issues. But what I think you're hearing is coming to ARS, coming to the academy, you bump into people, you have that 30-minute conversation with Michael. I come back 6 months later, hey, how's it going? Is that what you mean?
And that's definitely part of it, along with other engagements at every level, in one's clinical practice, at home, in the community, at med schools and residencies. These fora, I think there are so many opportunities to touch lives and positively impact and learn. Learning from others is so important. That's as much giving as taking in learning from others, learning experiences, and just opportunities for improvement.
Absolutely.
I'm so blown away. I really am. I thought you both were 120% work, bill, clinical. And I live in a world where we get 1 + 1 + 1 to equal 10. And it looks like you're talking about that. Engagement, advocacy, wellness, right? You're seeing how it can be a multiplier effect.
Yeah.
Looking out here, we see an expo hall. We see 5,500 people. We see the future in front of us. Are you all excited about the future or pessimistic? You want to go? You're the older guy. You want to go first?
I'm very excited about the future. I think.
How could you be excited? It's dismal. It's scary.
No, because we have new technologies that are out there. I think each one of us needs to engage in these new technologies. As advocates on behalf of otolaryngology, we're going to continue the battle. Gavin and I have been involved in the battle for otolaryngology. We're going to continue. So any of these individuals that have issues, we're going to continue to advocate for them. This is what we've done our whole
But you're
life.
optimistic. You think we can make a difference.
I think we can make a difference. I mean, there are a lot of pressures in medicine today, making it difficult. There's the malpractice issue, which is scary. There's the work issue. There's the financial issue. But I still think it's the best profession. I think it's the only profession I could have done for myself. It's been a wonderful journey for me for the past 42 years.
So let me try this. 42 years you've been practicing?
Yes.
Go back 25 years. In your head, go back 25 years. Were the reimbursement, malpractice, political milieu as scary back then as was today?
Yes. The
Because
malpractice
right
issue.
now we think it's the worst ever, but no.
The malpractice issue was the issue. What we were getting 25 years ago financially for procedures we did from a Medicare standpoint is very similar to what we're getting today, which is a pity. I think the reimbursement is a little lower than what it should be.
Yeah.
Everything else today has gone up. Cost of living has gone up. Everything else has gone up. But reimbursement for what we do has not, unfortunately. Hopefully,
so my
that
point
will
is the
change.
sky isn't falling right now. It's just the challenges, the continuity, the perpetual crisis in medicine.
Sure.
Gavin, are you optimistic, pessimistic, neutral?
Extraordinarily optimistic.
What?
For a few reasons.
Wow.
I think the body of otolaryngology and the spirit and the core of every
esprit de corps,
otolaryngologist
yeah.
is one of is favorable, optimistic, taking care of patients, doing things for the right reason. Fortunately, we have leadership and the structure in place that's helping address the other issues, socioeconomic, regulatory, declining reimbursement, EHR, the plethora, med-mal. So those challenges are House of Medicine wide. I think if we can continue to advocate as a group, we should succeed. I'm
But
very
does it work?
optimistic.
Does it work?
So incrementally over time, the challenges have been profound. But similarly, if we don't continue to confront them, we will all lose the battle. And so the profound loser at the end of the day is the patient ultimately. So we just have to continue to look at opportunities for improvement. We're both in private practice. You, others, Dr. Danani, have done an incredible job of ensuring the survivability and the opportunity to thrive in private practice. There are many different challenges in terms of consolidation and so on, but the Academy is really poised to help guide us through that. And I look forward to your leadership in helping us meet and beat these challenges. And to Mike's point, extraordinarily optimistic. We have to be optimistic to win the battle, and I think it is winnable. It just, it's more than just reimbursement.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people have always said over the years, you don't go into medicine to make money. You go into medicine because you have a passion and you want to help people. And I think whether you go into private practice or academic practice, you can be successful. But you need to work at it. It doesn't just happen. As you can see, Gavin and I, we went out there and we tried. We work hard to make it happen. You need to get involved. Get involved with the Academy. Get involved with your society. Publish, present. As a private practitioner, many people have said, don't you feel awkward being on a panel with academicians? I said, no, I'm doing as much as they do. Many people actually thought I was an academician. I said, I'm a private practitioner with significant academic involvement. And that's what I recommend people do, whether you're academically inclined or private practice. Be involved, publish, present, be involved, and be involved with your academy and your societies. That's what leads to success.
So people don't realize that. We'll talk for a couple more minutes. People don't realize we had our opening ceremony, and you were honored as a living legend. And I'll tell you, it's better than a pioneer because that means we're grateful to have your current day status. So congratulations. And I saw two biggest smiling faces, your wife and your brother. How did it feel when your brother's recognized as a living legend? You guys respectfully started from nowhere. And I mean that in the nicest sense. And you've helped transform a field. How did it feel seeing him up there?
Fantastic. A tremendous sense of pride and admiration.
No, for me, it was the most significant accomplishment I've ever had. Something where my peers had said, you obviously accomplished something significant. So I'm very proud. Gavin actually has also been regarded as a living legend, Hall of Distinction. He got that 3 years ago. So I think this is unusual that
So that was going to ask you.
we both living legends.
How do you feel when you see your brother with the presidential medallion?
Absolutely.
Right?
I'm proud of his accomplishments. I'm happy to hear that he believes that I was responsible for some of his success. And my father would have been thrilled to have seen two brothers sitting in this position as living
leaders.
He actually was an accountant who wanted to do medicine, and he was partially responsible for driving me into medicine. I didn't know that I wanted to even be an ENT until I rotated in general surgery at Cleveland Clinic, and my third month in ENT, I said, you know what, this is what I want. I was at Cleveland Clinic. I said, but where am I going to go? They said, an opening just opened up at WashU with Ogura. See if Ogura will take you. I met with Ogura. He said, I never take foreigners, but I'll take a chance with you. And here we are.
Is that really, really, really amazing? Any pearls we have for the future? So I always say this, I'm 50 years old, half the academy is older than me and half are younger. And I think, a couple minutes on the future. What advice do you give to young Dr. Sean Setzen, who's your son, who's in residency training program, your nephew, Sean? What advice do you give him and his classmates?
It's interesting. I always tell...
And give us the real advice, not the, work hard. Do you beat him? What beat him down?
This is an equal opportunity sport. And so if you're just willing to contribute of your time, your energy, commitment, and passion, there's nothing you can't accomplish. It just depends on your personal motivations, interests, and drive. And it seems, your brother, Udi, family, there seems to be a lot of mutual desire to step out, help, grow, improve better.
So I've heard that as well. Just show up.
Modeling,
right?
show up.
Equal opportunity sport.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What advice do you give to him and his friends?
You're our new EVP, and I congratulate you and wish you all the best. But the pearls that I give people is work hard as a medical student. If you like ENT, go there. Work hard as a resident. Try get into an appropriate fellowship. And then when you get out there, do whatever you want. If you like rhinology, work hard in rhinology. Get involved. Publish, present. And whenever invited to do a task, do it and do it well. And with time, you will become successful.
So what was amazing is I heard work hard 3 or 4 times in there. Before I do something funny, because if you all are watching, just pay attention because it's going to be funny. I'm gonna quote Bill Blythe on ENT Connect, a very prominent private practitioner, big fan and friend of the academies from Alabama, Birmingham, I believe. Birmingham. So he says something on ENT Connect. If you want to out-earn me, outwork me.
That's it.
I mean, you all talked about working hard. You ready for something fun?
Yes, of course.
Sean, come over here. Don't worry, guys. Just walk this way. Walk around. We're going to be okay, everybody. Don't worry. Don't worry. No. Come sit. Have a seat. We're going to be okay, everybody. Don't worry, Miguel. Put this on. You ready? You doing good?
Doing great.
All right. Interview your father and your uncles. Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Okay, so...
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sean Setzen. I'm a current PGY1 ENT resident at St. Luke's in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Excited to be at this academy meeting.
You're my first guest host. What do you want to ask your uncle? First guest host, don't mess up.
I guess, what was the biggest challenge when you came here? And how did it feel leaving family back home?
You know what, that was a big challenge, but the good news is my family supported the move. My mother and father said, you know what, South Africa was having some political situations. My wife's family said, that as well. So we stepped up and emigrated. Fortunately, I was able to do it because Gavin and you are both here. So it was a challenge. Starting up in Cleveland when we said we knew nobody, it was difficult. Believe it or not, the most significant situation in my life from a medical standpoint was I was chairman of the Board of Governors during 9/11, when on the Tuesday at 10 a.m., when we saw the 2 buildings come down, I had to make this decision and show some leadership. What should we do with this meeting? We decided that the meeting was over. I was there with Gavin. We got into a limo and we drove from Denver to New York. You remember that day, Gav?
So I'm going to help you as a moderator because you can't tell your uncle he's only got 40. How old were you on 9/11?
I was 4.
Okay. Please ask your father. What pearls would you ask? If you're a podcaster, what do you ask your dad?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I'm interested to hear a little bit more about your relationship with one another and outside of ENT, your proudest moments of one another's lives.
So that's a great question. And, Mike, my big brother, always provided excellent leadership and friendship and support. Because it was a 13-year age difference, he was quite significantly ahead of me in different ages and stages. And we maybe didn't spend as much time growing up in the same, spheres, but he has always been my role model and, somebody I've looked up to all along, and just provided great leadership, advice, support, friendship, as one would hope from a big brother. So,
And Gav, you actually gave me a presidential citation during your presidency for that. And I really appreciate and thank you for that. So yes, we have a very close relationship. We actually both spend a lot of time in Boca Raton. We both have homes there. So that's the time we really get together. We play golf. We spend time together at the beach. We have similar
we have fun. We goof around.
He has grandkids. I have grandkids. We all get together, and we're happy you're on board with us now.
And I couldn't be happier.
So Sean, you might be our youngest ever host. Okay, you're definitely the first guest host. Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you worried about the future of medicine? Your father is extraordinarily optimistic. Your uncle's very optimistic. Talk to your colleagues out there. How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I remain incredibly optimistic. Coming to these meetings year after year, my first one in Atlanta in 2017, when my dad was president. I've had the good fortune of coming every year since, and I continue to see the amazing pride amongst ENTs from all over the country and the world at large coming together year after year, both at Academy, but also at smaller meetings, at local societies. And I think that the fire in the heart of ENTs remains strong, and it's one of the things that really inspired me to want to become an otolaryngologist and continue to contribute to this incredible specialty.
Did you know
what I think Sean is doing right is he's publishing, he's presenting, he's pretty involved.
Yeah. Did you notice I didn't cut the future off? I cut you guys off, but I let him go. I'll tell you, we should end there because I've never been more excited about the field, and I just want our folks. I'm going to pull back, and we'll end just with the silent shot of the Setzens. It's really, really amazing. The pride here on what we've developed, and in you, young man, you're the future. So why don't we end that way?
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Shah. Congratulations, and appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you.
We hope today's episode sparked some fresh ideas. If it resonated with you, please subscribe and share it with friends. Have thoughts or suggestions? Use the feedback form in the show notes. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to follow us on social media for highlights, behind-the-scenes content, and updates. Thanks for listening. See you next time.